Hey guys, let's stretch our splits. So there's lots of different stretches you can do to open up your hips and hamstrings to do your splits. And I'm going to lead you through a series that really works well for me. So follow along. And if you haven't warmed up yet, make sure to either do my warm-up video or do your own warm-up so your body's nice and warm and juicy before we get started into this deep stretching. Make sure to have your blocks handy as well. Here we go. So we're going to start on the right side. Bring the right leg forward. Take a couple forward and back motions to get yourself juicy again. And then take your blocks on either side of your front leg. Tuck your back toes, straighten your back knee, and come into an active lunge to get a little warm here. Pull your belly in, draw the left back hip forward in space, and then if you can, lift your hands off of the blocks, maybe up towards the sky or out. Bend the back knee, pull the belly in, and then straighten through the back knee. Bend the back knee, pull the belly in, hold the blocks if you need, straighten the back knee. Bend the back knee, straighten the back knee, pull the belly in, lengthen super long, and then drop the back knee down. Take your hands to the floor, untuck your toes, make sure you're square, your left hip is forward, pull the belly in, drop your chin, and then just let your hips sag down. So you should feel a stretch in the front of your left hip. Pull the belly in and let your pelvis and hips sag down. Woo. We'll stay here for a few more breaths. Let it sag down. Yeah. Now we're going to come up into a low lunge. Walk your hands up to your front knee or take your hands to your blocks and sink your hips forward. Yeah? Left hip reaches forward in space. Pull the belly in, lift your torso up towards the sky, and reach your hips forward. 5 more seconds here, reaching your hips forward. Keep the direction forward. Let's straighten through the front leg. Square the hips back, drawing the right hip back, and then wag your tail a little bit. So you can internally, externally rotate your right leg, move your hips around, and then settle in, lengthen your spine, bring your chest forward, pull your pinky toes back, and lengthen yourself forward over your right leg. If you need to bend your right knee a little bit, if that's what you're at, that's fine. Or you can try and straighten your leg. And stay forward over here. If you want, you can round a little bit forward, drawing your right hip back. Yes. Great. Let's come forward back into our low lunge. Bring our hands to the floor. Keep our back toes tucked, pull the belly in, press into the pointed back foot, and lift your back knee if you can. If this hurts your ankle or your knee, don't do it. Just lift some weight out of your back knee for 3, 2, 1. Drop your knee down, bring your blocks back up for support, come back to your low lunge down here, bend your back knee, push into the pointed back foot, pull your belly in, and see if you can lift your back knee for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend that back knee down and then go back into this forward motion with the left hip. Yeah? You can take the left arm up, right hand to the right knee, pull the belly in, lift the left hip forward and down, and bring your left armpit and hand up and over a little bit towards the right. You can even take some circles back with that arm. Maybe take your left hand to your left hip and press it forward for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your hands back to your blocks, straighten through your right leg, and go forward once again. Straightening over your right leg. So this right leg, if it bends a little, it's okay as long as you feel a deep stretch in your hamstring. You want to straighten through your spine here. Draw that right hip back in space to square that pelvis and get a really deep stretch. If you can, left hand can go over top of the right, holding onto the pinky toe, pulling that pinky toe back as you reach your chest forward for 3, 2, 1. Point your front foot. Have your blocks handy if you need them. Slide forward into your splits. Make sure you don't open up that left hip. All that work we've been doing to square. So keep that left hip squared forward. Slide forward into your splits. Point the front foot. Straighten the front knee if you can. And keep sliding forward, keeping the hips square. Pull the belly in. If you want, you could flex and point a little bit in your front foot. Keep that foot activated and sink down. We're going to stay here for about 15 more seconds. If you're down and you want to come forward and give yourself a little foot stretch here, that's great. Keep activating the back leg, keeping the hips square. Yeah, 5 more seconds here. Really strong and activated, knees straight, toes pointed, and then release. Come back onto your hips. Maybe come into a butterfly stretch. Maybe take one knee forward and the other knee forward. And then go to the other side. Here we go. Left leg. Bring your left leg forward. You can take some forward and back if that feels good. And then take your blocks. Come into a high lunge. Tuck the back toes. Lift the back knee. Get nice and long here. And then if you can, lift your hands up off your blocks. Your hands on the blocks is also fine if you need that support. Bend and straighten the back knee a few times, reaching that right back hip forward in space. Bend and straight, bend and straight. And now straighten that back knee. Lengthen it all for 3, 2, 1. Bend the back knee to the floor. Untuck the toes. Bring your hands to the floor. Sink your hips forward. Pull the belly in. Drop your chin. Relax your neck. Pull the belly in and sink the hips forward and feel a deep stretch in the hip flexors of your right hip. Pull the belly in and sink the hips forward for 3, 2, 1. Walk it up to a low lunge, bringing your blocks at your hips so your shoulders can be over your hips. Right hip reaching forward in space. And just direct the energy forward and down with the hips. Keep directing this energy down and forward. Keep directing your ribs up. Right hip forward, pelvis slightly tucked. Long neck, relaxed face. And just stay here, keeping the hips reaching forward and down. That right hip flexor is really getting a stretch here. For 5, 4, 3, pull the belly in, 2, 1. Take our hamstring stretch. So draw that left hip back to square the hips, and you can wag your tail, take your rotation, and then drop into that squared forward fold. Use your blocks if you need. Lengthen your spine. Draw your left sits bone down towards the floor. Pinky toes back. Lengthen your spine. Relax your neck. Stay here for one more breath. And then let's come into our low lunge again. Coming forward, hands on the floor. Direct your hips so you're nice and square. Pull the belly in. Now push on to the top of your pointed back foot and lift your knee if you can off the floor. If you can't lift your knee because it hurts, just press into the top of the back foot and bring your hips forward for 3, 2, 1. Release that down. Take your blocks back up at your sides. Bring your hips forward. Now once again, press into the top of your back foot. Lift your knee if you can for 5, 4. Sink your hips lower. 3. Straighten the back knee if you can. 2, and 1. And drop it down. Deep stretch here into our hips. You can take the right arm up. You can take the right arm up and over towards the left. Right hip is reaching forward. Right hand can come to the left hip, directing that hip forward. My left hand can come to my left knee to help me stay squared. Right hip reaching forward for 3, 2, 1. Bring it down, straighten through the front leg. Lengthen your spine. Take your right hand up and over to your left pinky toes if you can. Reach it. Pull it back and lengthen your spine forward as you draw your left hip back in space for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And get ready for our split. So point our front foot, slide down into your splits. Nice and long. If you're up higher, use your blocks at your sides to help support you in keeping yourself up over your splits. If you're down lower, you can put the blocks aside, square your right hip forward, point your left toe and your right toes, Straighten your knee if you can. Stay up and over your splits. Stay focused for 20 more seconds. If you want, you can come forward over your front leg. Breathe deeply. You can come up. You can give yourself a little arch back. Breathe deeply for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release that. Shake out your legs. Okay, so that was 1 round. Now do 2 more rounds. In order to get more flexibility in your splits, you have to put a lot of time and energy into it. Loving time and energy. So if you have the time, go back to the beginning of this video, do it 2 more times on each side, and try and do that a few times a week. If you only have time to do it once, that's fine. Just your progress will just be a little bit more slow, and take care of your body. Don't go too deep. If something feels wrong, come out of it a little bit, shake it out, massage it out, go back into it. But just stay diligent, just keep doing it, and you'll get your splits in no time. I hope to see you soon here at the Monkey House, Mexico. Have a wonderful day.